What is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Saturday, August 6th slate of MLB action. I'm super excited to dive into it. We do have another really great slate of MLB once again today, a full slate literally all the way through the day, and I'm super excited to stay tuned with some baseball. And I'm very excited to also put in some bets. Sweat out some bets, stuff like that. Saturdays are always a great day to sweat out some bets. So, but before we did dive into it, I did just want to go ahead and say that we are still currently on the road to 7,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do. And thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me, way more than you guys will ever know. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and do a quick recap of yesterday. But before we do, and boom, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we have the sunnies on, and you guys know exactly what that means. If you guys are new, the sunnies mean that I did end up getting a sweep, and you guys can see it up on the overlay as well. But we did end up going 2-0 on the day, and we did have a lean from yesterday's play, and from yesterday's video, and it actually hit too. I didn't make it an official play. Kind of wish I would have, but I didn't have a whole lot of stats that I wanted to put everything together, and they weren't 100% sure on exactly who was going to be the pitcher at the time that I was recording the video, so didn't want to really take any shots in the dark. But we did end up going 2-0, so we did have the Dodgers first 5 money line versus the Padres. You guys should have just taken the run line on that one. The Dodgers look great right now. The game is still going on currently at 11:30 at night. It is still going on, but the Dodgers are looking great so far. Then we had the Pirates plus 1.5 versus the Orioles. This was about as sweaty as it gets. Truthfully, it was at the bottom of the 8th. The Orioles had bases loaded at one point, 1 out, and the Pirates somehow ended up getting out of it. And then the Orioles just finished the game out 1-0. So it ended up working out for us, but it was definitely sweaty. But the lean I did have was the Marlins and the Cubs, no run first inning, and that one ended up working as well. So a little lunchtime nerfy, but without any further ado, like I said, 2-0 on the day. Hopefully we can go ahead and extend this stretch over to today's plays. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. So our first play of the day, we're going to be taking the Phillies run line here versus the Nationals at minus 130 odds. Now, if you take a look at it, the Phillies, not necessarily a great team when it comes to the run line at home. A lot of times I do like to fade the Phillies run line, especially when they're favorites at home. But I do think this is a good spot for them because they are 24-29 to the run line at home. A little bit below 500, but it's still not as bad as Washington. Washington is 19-32 to the run line on the road, regardless of whether they're a favorite, whether they're an underdog. And hint, they are underdogs a lot of times, so they really don't keep these games very close. Philadelphia, they are also 32-25 to the run line following a win, which they did have a 5-run win over the Nationals yesterday. So hopefully they are able to carry that momentum over into today as well. And Ranger Suarez is going to be on the mound here for Philadelphia. He's been really solid this year. He has a 3.6 ERA over the course of the season. He does pitch a little bit worse at home with a 4.54 ERA at home, but in his last 5 games, he's really, really stepped things up. He has a 1.8 ERA in his last 5 starts, so I do think we see a ton of value there. And if you look at just his last 3 games, he has 0, 3, and 0 earned runs. And the one game that he did have those 3 runs, it was versus Atlanta. And, well, Atlanta's a top 10 offense when it comes to just runs scored per game. And I can tell you pretty confidently, Washington is nowhere near that top 10 offense. They are actually 26th when it comes to runs per game. So I do think we see a ton of value with that. Now let's go to the flip side of the mound. Patrick Corbin's going to be on the mound for Washington, and he has been a guy to fade all year long. He has a 6.57 ERA over the course of the season, 8.43 on the road, and a 10.29 ERA in his last 5 games. He has been really, really poor here, and I don't think that changes anytime today either. Washington also has the 7th worst bullpen in the worst bullpen ERA in the entire MLB. So if it does end up coming down to that and the Phillies don't have a huge lead, I definitely think they can get it in the bottom couple innings as well. So that is going to be our first play of the day. Phillies minus 1.5 versus the Nationals. at minus 130 odds. Now, this next one is going to be a little bit of a bankroll builder, a little bit of a parlay piece, whatever you want to call it, but I love this play. I think that there is a really good chance of this hitting, so we're going to be riding with it. We're taking the Tampa Bay Rays run line here versus the Tigers at minus 143 odds on Barstool. So Tampa Bay, they are 25 and 27 to the run line on the road. So once again, not necessarily in their favorable spot, but Detroit has been even worse to the run line at home. They're 22 and 32 to the run line at home this year, definitely way below 500, so I do think we see some value with that. Tampa Bay is also 22nd when it comes to runs per game, so they're not a great offense, but they're still better than Detroit. Detroit is dead last when it comes to runs per game over the course of the entire season, and Tampa Bay has an elite defense. They actually are 6th when it comes to runs allowed in the entire MLB. Detroit's 19th, so Detroit definitely not a bad offense, but they are kind of pushing towards that bottom 10, so I do think we see some value there. Not to mention Tampa Bay, they're kind of the high hand right now. They actually are on a 3-game win streak right now, and they have won and covered in 4 straight versus Detroit. So the history is on our side here, so hopefully we can see some more of that once again. And Shane McClanahan's going to be on the mound here for Tampa Bay, and you don't get much more of an ace than this one. He has a 2.07 ERA over the course of the season, a 1.99 ERA on the road, and a 1.29 ERA through 7 innings pitched versus Detroit. Dude's been absolutely insane, and I don't think that changes anytime soon here. On the flip side, Garrett Hill is going to be on the mound for Detroit, has a 5.88 ERA over the course of the entire season. And if you take a look at some of the games that he's started, in his last 4 starts, the Tigers have lost and didn't cover their run line in 4 straight games. So I do think we see a ton of value with that one. So I do like this for any sort of a parlay, any sort of a just a bankroll builder, stuff like that. But I think this has a great chance of hitting, so we're going to be riding with it. Rays run line versus the Tigers at minus 143 odds. Now for our third and final play of the day, we're going to be taking the Rockies. Team total under 1.5 runs here in the first 5 innings at minus 105 versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. So I do like this play for a couple different reasons, but mostly it's just because Rockies, they're on the road. There it is. End of analysis. No, I'm just kidding. But I do think that we see a ton of value since they are going to be on the road. Colorado, they do score the second fewest runs per game on the road in the entire MLB. They definitely have a huge advantage because of their home stadium. So if this was at home, obviously would not even come close to touching this bet. But on the road, they score the second fewest runs per game in the entire MLB. Also, in the first 5 innings, they scored the 4th fewest runs per game in the entire MLB. So I think that's a ton of value there. They definitely are much better at home than they are on the road. And Merrill Kelly is going to be on the mound here for Arizona. He's been great. He has a 2.87 ERA over the course of the season, a 1.31 in his last 5, and a 1.15 through 15 innings. So a huge sample size versus Colorado so far this year. And so he has been great not only against Colorado, but in his last 5 games, he's starting to trend in the right direction. So I really do see a lot of value with that one. Also, Merrill Kelly in his last 5 starts has 0, 1, 0, 2, and 2 earned runs in his last 5 starts. And Merrill Kelly does have a tendency to go over that 5-inning mark. So, so even some of those 2-run games, they do come a little bit after the 5th inning. So hopefully it does end up working out for us. That's going to be our third and final play of the day. Rockies team total under 1.5 in the first 5 versus the Diamondbacks at minus 105 odds. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we are still currently on the road to 7,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. But that's going to do it for me. This is King Singer signing out. Peace.